live for us. Let's go to Peter now, your Pacific Capital, to get his take on all of this. And Rich is reporting on what's happening on the ground in this tiny little nation of Cyprus. But what's your take back here? Are you in this camp that says, oh, man, I'm worried, even though our market's going to all-time highs and hovers around them, that it could happen here? Or I think it's just a European story, I could care less. I mean, what's your take, Peter?
Well, I think people are ignoring the broader implications of what's going on here, and that the banks or the governments are realizing that they can't simply backstop all the losses, that the moral hazard is too great in that respect. We cannot have people operating under the pretense that no matter where they put their money,
right,
no matter how recklessly banks act with that money, that they're going to be protected.
You think twice about it after seeing something like this.
Yield without any regard to how much risk banks are taking in pursuit of those yields.
Sure, people may be naturally watching this and start to think, well, but then you start to make actual comparisons between, say, what happens over there and what we deal with in our system here. And I think it's worth pointing out the differences, as well as, others bringing up the issue that, our money's not safe or something like that.
There are real differences. There's similarities and there's size.
For example, Cyprus doesn't have its own currency, right? So Cyprus doesn't have its own currency. We do. They don't have their own central bank. They have to deal with basically the whims of the European Central Bank, where we have the Federal Reserve System here in the United States. So to me, that would make a situation like Cyprus less likely to happen in a country like this or in this country.
Well, no, it may mean that we're less likely to do the right thing and to print money instead, but it ultimately means that people who have money on deposit in U.S. banks are going to lose even more of their purchasing power than people who had money on deposit at Cypriot banks. Because if we have the attitude that it doesn't matter, that our banks can make all the dumb loans they want because the Federal Reserve will always print money to bail out their depositors, at the end, you might get your money back, but you're not going to get your purchasing power back because the value of the dollar will have plunged, and you'll have a bank account full of worthless money.
A little bit of a different argument, though, isn't it? Because we haven't seen, for example, that plunging that you talk about in the dollar over the last few years, when the Fed has basically done nothing for print money, and we don't.
It hasn't happened yet,
here has
so it's lulled a lot of people into a false sense of complacency.
Right, but people don't have legitimate concerns here saying, "Oh, I'm not going to go to the ATM."
People were complacent about the housing market until we had a crisis.
Right.
So if the world has already loaned America more money than it can ever possibly repay, but right now nobody cares, they keep lending us more just because they think we can keep printing it.
I'll try to ask one question without
At one point in time,
Peter,
the printing of money is going to be what dooms us. It's not going to be our salvation.
No, Peter, that's enough. I mean, the point is, I'm not worried about going to the ATM today and not getting the money out, which is I tried to say 4 times. We can talk about it. Anyway, have a good show. You're doing your radio show, so we'll let you get back to it.
Long term about what that money is going to be worth.
Peter Schiff joining us from Connecticut, as always. Thanks. Take it. God.
Well, speaking of home.